Welcome back to the update. This is season 1, episode 2, and this is the title quarterbacks because I will be discussing some of my quarterbacks, some quarterbacks that have had some problems recently, and just some overall updates from quarterbacks from this preseason week 2 and upcoming week 3. So, my goal for this podcast is to try to upload about once a week on Saturdays. I know I can't do next Saturday, or at least I'll try, but the goal is to try to do every Saturday, a new podcast will be up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you the most relevant news about fantasy sports there is. So this podcast right now, we're going to focus on 3 quarterbacks: Jimmy Garoppolo, Cam Newton, and Patrick Mahomes. So, let's just take a look at this. Jimmy Garoppolo's first game back was last week in preseason, and he had a rough first game. He was 1 for 6, 0 yards, and 1 interception. And they played the Broncos, and they just had 49ers had a tough time this first couple opening drive with Jimmy Garoppolo moving the ball, moving the chains, and the passes just nothing looked right. Then again, there was a lot of pressure with that I think his name's Nick Chubb. He was able to bring a lot of pressure. Another person on the line of scrimmage defensively on the Broncos was batted 2 balls down, so it's just trying to find more open lanes. And I guess the 49ers were saying that Jimmy Garoppolo should play about half the game tonight against the Chiefs. They wanted to see him, I guess, prove himself more because he was an important trade they had. Was it last year or 2 years ago, and was unable to really perform last year because of his injury. And the 49ers really just want to see reps. But for fantasy-wise, this is someone so good for your team. But I'm a little biased because I root for Bay Area sports. But Jimmy Garoppolo has a lot of potential, and you really need to just watch his game tonight against the Chiefs to understand if could be someone you pick up later in rounds. Because it's he's going to be much better, and maybe his ranking isn't actually as good as it is on the fantasy sports, and he can be a good quarterback, a backup quarterback at least at your team. Now let's shift over to Cam Newton, who was position rank. He's about 13 for quarterbacks, which is quarterbacks tend to be lower draft picks. But he left the game with a mid-foot strain. And everyone was kind of shaken up, is he getting out? How long is he getting out for at least the first 12, maybe 24 hours? But then it was revealed that they want him back for first week of regular season. So he's not going to see as many reps, though, or practice reps in this preseason. So, the question now is, do you worry that he's going to be injured or have, a chance of re-injury is more likely? I don't think so. I just think he just needs some rest, and he should be back. Now, however, this could mean Christian McCaffrey, the running back for the Panthers, may see more reps right now in preseason, and you can kind of get a better feel of what he's able to do in his how important he is to the team. And who knows, maybe that week 1 they may be running the ball. I haven't checked to see who their opponent is, but we will see. And yeah, it shouldn't be a huge deal. And Cam Newton should drop maybe a little bit on your radar just for right now, because you won't be able to see as much footage of him if you are drafting in the next couple of weeks or this weekend. And let's move over to Patrick Mahomes. So I drafted him way too early. So as I was saying, I drafted him way too early. It should go running back, wide receivers, quarterbacks, I think kickers, and then defense. Those really can go either way, just because that's just tough. You can't really know what kickers are not going to get you a bunch of points, and defense, you just never know. But I drafted him way too early, but the thing is, even though he's a good quarterback and get you a lot of points, running backs is where the real points are, at least in ESPN fantasy football. And I was also checking out something on the ESPN, checking out the news thing, and even if he drops off a little from the previous year, he still is going to be a top-ranked quarterback and good to have on your team. So definitely have him on your radar and consider drafting him as soon as the time is right. ESPN, I know, told you about when to draft him. I didn't see that until later, but he plays the 49ers tonight. So I mean, it's the same with Jimmy Garoppolo and Patrick Mahomes. You kind of watch two quarterbacks in one game, which is nice. He had a tough last week. It was pretty tough. He went 2 for 5 with 11 yards and an 8-yard rush. Not great, but and then again, this is also preseason. That was maybe his first game back. Different reads, but he still has this upcoming Saturday, or this week, against the 49ers, where he's going to probably play about half the game as well. But the scary thing that people are worrying about is that he was unable to play the full first half of preseason game, which the Chiefs have wanted, or at least Andy Reid was hoping for. And so people are concerned about that. But I guess Chiefs have said like nothing was wrong. He's going to probably most likely play this full half tonight against the 49ers. Let's see, overall, just a lot of talent of quarterbacks for these three. Just need to kind of prove themselves or recover from the injuries, and I'm just going to keep watching football, and you should as well, and understand the quarterback's strengths and weakness when playing teams that have like maybe better defense, or their defense is not as good, or maybe they have a really good defensive line but their secondary is not as good. So that's just stuff to pay attention to. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I can make another episode sooner for you guys. But yeah, thanks for watching.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.